Currently it's 4:18 p.m. on Thursday, Thanksgiving. Wishing you all well. Of course, you're not going to get this video until tomorrow, Friday. So, belated Thanksgiving, I guess one would say. November 28th. I wanted to put out this video with more of a positive tone than I would usually generate as videos for my telepathy for the deaf blind, and thank people that offered me comments for each of the videos typically I would produce and posted. And I just, because I'm in a state of flurry when I go to the library and hook up to the internet, I just don't have time to. Here we go. I got to keep my hands away from the pineal areas of my body. um, so, so it's very kind of all of you who have generated comments. Most of them primarily interested in what I have to say, and I've received solicitations on some of these or within some of these comments on wanting to either start a forum or to be in touch with me, and that's all good and well and fine and all that. I'm just really challenged by not having quicker access to the internet to be able to effectively be communicative. I need to have internet all the time, and I used to have it here. I've said that before. I used to have it here in my apartment, but the tree limbs outside have grown over the pathway of the internet signal, and it's not strong enough to reach my laptop via the modem, of course. So it is what it is, and I will have to just kind of arbitrarily respond to these comments. Now there are people here that seem to repetitively. I've got these as notes that I jotted down at the last moment before I was kicked out of the library last Tuesday. These people show incredible enthusiasm for just being part of my video series. One in particular, Mary Kern 336 or 6336, something like that. And thank you so much, Mary. And yes, I'd be delighted I think it was you that said that you'd like to speak with me over the phone, and that would be fine. I just have not generated the correct email for communicating that I've actually left and used as a correction to a previous email address. I've got to correct that stuff when I go back Friday. I got to make sure I write this down so I don't forget. When that happens, then people can generate emails to me and we'll take it step by step. If I get overwhelmed by emails, yeah, I'm just going to have to give priority to the newcomers and at least acknowledge talking to me, wanting to talk to me. And Mary, I give you my word that I'd be delighted in speaking with you. It's just a matter of coordinating all this stuff. So just hold tight if you could. The next person I saw was Spark IUC Dudes. That's cool. I got, I think, several comments from that person. And then Beamham25JR. And then there's a Poo Man, Puooman 4Z. I just scribbled this stuff down. And then there's a OAS29 person out there. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Things will work out for us. And I hope that I can, as I've said a few times before, encourage each one of you to start producing videos too. I I've decided that I'm going to script a public message, open message to Deanna Anaya, who heads now the Spiritual Foundation. This is going to be a particularly good video because I am going to express concern over the way things are moving forward with the Spiritual Foundation, and I have to be very considerate of their position and not to challenge Deanna or Jay and corner them in inappropriate ways that they don't need, because they are working around the clock trying to establish the Spiritual Foundation as a leading metaphysical organization out there in the world. And Jay has said a couple times, don't contact me, don't bother me. Aside from the fact that he's going through terrible, terrible medical issues, it just would be rude of me to contact him and say, hey, I want this or I want that. No, I contact Deanna and as softly as I can make suggestions. And I think that if Jay is everything that he says he is and what he's going to conduct once he crosses over, as human beings, we should be allowed the privilege of expressing a point of view about humanity that Jay is going to change. Now, some of you may not be familiar with Jay Essex and what he's said over the past in many videos of what he's going to do once he crosses over. It's we're talking about a scenario here in humanity that is going to change everybody's life for the good and the bad. And I would recommend that if you are muggles out there, no, nothing wrong with being a muggle, we all were at one point, to look over Jay's videos and try and, in fact, I should have links to those, huh? If I can remember, I'll jot this down. I will place one or two links that should be hooked up to review what he said about moving on. Now, what I'm doing is precarious, to say the least. The worst that can happen is that my metaphysicality will be removed. That won't happen. And even if it did, that's okay. Going through the throes of developing my metaphysical skills has been tortuous. That's a point I have never brought up completely in a video, and I should. And I've associated with the complications, the peripheral neuropathy that I have that co-aligns itself with the feeling of DNA changes as being complementary to my being at times in pure agony as they compete for precedence or stature in the development of my total body metaphysicality. There's a fight between those two things. It's either that or it's an agency out there that, as of back in September, was bringing me down. It was really tough saying I wanted to live. But I kept moving forward with the spirit of the thought that maybe Jay is testing me. Maybe some of us aren't meant to have a free-flowing, easy feeling evolution to their DNA. So here I am, and things are better, except I vibrate like crazy. It's off the hook I'll tell you, any woman who hugs me, they're going to feel it. It's that bad. No devices involved, too. Ladies, give me a pass on that. So, where am I? I'm losing my place here. Okay, so this message I need to convey to Deanna has to be scripted. In fact, I'm probably should say that whenever I have a chance to write my thoughts down, that I, in a flowing way, I should be doing that because I hesitate, as you can see, and for whatever reason, I stumble on my words. And I write very well, actually, very persuasively. And I need to make this script probably in 2 or 3 segments for suggestions I have that should be considered as we go through the change in humanity before, actually. Please don't miss what I have to say in this. I don't know how far, I've probably gotten 1.5 pages written in this stuff, but it's going to take me a while to write this stuff. My style is to write something and then go back and keep going over it and smoothing out how it sounds. And it cannot be crisp in tone. It cannot be adjudicating. It cannot be authoritative. There's no place for this stuff. And speaking with someone like Deanna, who's done nothing but the best to help us with the incredible stone energy that she's built around these spheres. I should bring all 10 of my spheres and line them up behind me so you can see how dedicated I've been in acquiring these things. I just can't keep them in my apartment because they're so strong. You can't find stronger spheres anywhere that match the power of these things, and it makes me like this. So I bring them in one at two at a time, and I have these 2 spheres, one physical healing and another spiritual healing. I mentioned in the previous video how my intro to the introduction videos, I mentioned how I brought these inside uh, to place next to the guy who's giving me much problems in my living situation. Enough of that, however. So, so the bottom line is, I will acknowledge people who have been kind enough to email me, and I haven't figured out actually yet how to respond to those comments. Well, I meant comments, okay. Respond to the comments using a reply through YouTube when YouTube contacts me to let me know that somebody has left a comment. I've tried that before and I don't think things have gotten through. And so the first, actually, if you're listening, John Lennon, oh gosh, there's a name associated with that. The guy who has a channel called I Was John Lennon, he was the first gentleman who contacted me via a comment. And I wrote him a long letter, not knowing that to reply with this letter via YouTube would not go through. Sorry about that, guy. At some point, I'll catch up to you and we'll have a chit chat. If any of you are not familiar with this gentleman's channel, try and look it over. I think Jay Essex has a video on this guy as well. So anyway, I'm hesitating. I think I'll just head on and try and figure out, as long as I have some peace and quiet here in my apartment, before the noise comes back, I'm going to see what else I can do to get my videos ready, titled, so that when I go to the library tomorrow, I can just quickly upload this stuff. And I have an archive of gigs of information that I'd like to pass on, metaphysically bent, that I think would help people. It's just getting to it amidst all the other stuff I've got to do in my life to keep my life moving forward, that curtails my ability to upload this stuff. I have to get it out of the archives and look it over and all that. But oh, before I leave, I gotta tell you Jay has referred many times to the homepage of thespiritualfoundation.com to explain how the science of a QEEG, quantitative electroencephalogram, proves that he can remotely crank up somebody's hypothalamus. Well, I found the science on pub.med and National Institute of Health of 3 studies that show that stimulation of the hypothalamus creates certain effects on the head. One of them being the glands in the back of the ear start to profusely exude smelling fluid. I mean, this stuff is it's gross. And did I explain this in another video? Anyway, it bears repeating anyway. I'd have to clean the back of my ears several times a day because the stuff would start to drip down. I mean, it's freaking gross. But this is indication directly connected to the stimulation of the hypothalamus. And I can't remember in the studies how they stimulated the hypothalamus. But then there was another study that talked about the itching from connecting 16 minutes into this video with stimulating the hypothalamus. There was a time last summer. Was it last summer? Or the summer before that? I think it was the summer before that. My scalp was itching so bad all the time. I couldn't I couldn't get rid of it. And it's like I said, there's been a long pause in my developing, moving forward of with the DNA evolution process. And this is what I should have been experiencing from the beginning. Maybe some of you have experienced this or not, but this is proof positive that of what Jay is saying. Once he stimulates the hypothalamus, this stuff can happen. And then there is, I should probably, if I could, I'd put this video on pause. There was a study on the fissures that people have, very deep, deep fissures in the scalp. That, in fact, I gotta demonstrate this if I can get some paper. Hold tight. I've got the name of it, the medical name with this in my archives. I didn't think I'd talk about this before, but hold on, let me crumple this piece of paper up and show you what's going on. There are people that have the most grotesque fissures on their scalp. And I don't have grotesque ones, but I had ones that formed after getting my crank up. And it's like, here's a really over dramatic view of what the of a scalp. But when your brain grows from Jay's crank up, your scalp will form like this, and then as it grows, it'll smooth out. And Jay has even talked about how you can measure the growth of your brain and your head, of course, together by putting a string around it and registering that length or that fit for later on down the trail after you've evolved. And these are 3 different ways that I'm saying that you can see alternatively the growth of your brain from that metaphysical wake up, and it blows me away. And not only that, but mine is smoothing out now, and it's moved kind of towards the right side. You're seeing me, and it's the left side of my head in your view, but it changes. It used to be like a motocross, a raceway at the at Well, I was going to. Anyway, I'm losing it here. I got to get something to eat, I think, because of the diabetes. Anyway, keep this stuff in mind. And if you have something to add, post it as a topic video yourself and give give people out there the benefit of your experience. Don't be shy. Do a 30-second thingy. And as I've said in the past, if you can talk to frogs, say it in a 30-second YouTube video. What the frick? And I guess that's all I have to say other than, um, because I'm learning the art of narration, it could very well be that I'll go back and reproduce a video once I have more control of making my thoughts and words flow. I think that would be helpful to people out there who are very particular about the videos they watch. I'm like that too. I don't want to look at crappy videos. I've talked about this before. My time is worth something. And, eh, we're all transactional. Come on, give me your shit. I've got things to do, people to see, places to go to. We don't have time to linger. But I can also say, as a response to that, is that the details mean everything. And to go slow at expressing the details about it, ev- metaphysically evolving is important too. So there's got to be a balance in there somewhere. So thank you for having the patience to look at my videos. I feel it deeply here. Okay, so I'm going to head on and I may produce another video or take videos I have in my archives and get them titled and upload them tomorrow. So have a happy belated Thanksgiving and until then, oh, be good.